Good morning, everybody. Thank you. Happy 2016. I know we've got a big crowd here today. I know we've got some few chairs up front here. So please try to squeeze in if you can. For those of you, who's here for the first time? Oh, great. Welcome. This year, right. How many entrepreneurs in the room? Yeah, thank you. Well, for those who are uninitiated to 1 Million Cups, we're about 2 years old. We have a forum where we bring 2 entrepreneurs in. They make a 6 to 8 minute pitch, and there's 20 minutes of Q&A. So we want you to be involved. We'll have 2 of our organizers going around the room with mics. So please participate. So again, great crowd. Thank you for coming out. This is wonderful. Our first presenter is going to be Dr. Shelby Smith with Equality Healthcare. So, Shelby, it's yours.
Thank you, guys. Well, isn't life interesting? 1 year ago this week, I was in Kansas City with my wife celebrating my 40th birthday, sorting to have a midlife reassessment. She said, well, what do you think about this next year? And I said, I have no idea. Well, little did I know that over that year, I would quit my stable job as a family physician at Cox, take 2 partners, go with us, and start a clinic in downtown Springfield that doesn't accept insurance, and much less be presenting to a group like this. So life has a funny way of throwing curveballs at you. So I think I've got about 8 minutes to dismantle the U.S. healthcare system and put it back together. So here we go. It won't take, no, it's this slide, okay? So it's everywhere, online, print. Unless you've been in a cave for the last 2 decades, you know that our healthcare system is a hot mess. Just yesterday, the 5th, my birthday, New York Times, the most expensive place to get sick in the world. December numbers, $3 trillion in health spending in the U.S., highest ever. Important number also, physician burnout is now at an all-time high, hovering around 55%. So basically, healthcare is expensive. The pricing is not transparent, especially in this community. And the experience of trying to get in to see a doctor, taking off work to go see that doctor, sitting in waiting rooms, doctor's offices, and we're running late, it all sucks. It sucks for you guys as the patient, and it sucks for us as the doctor. So Equality Healthcare would like to do something about that, as well as the other direct primary care clinics in the area. I see Luke Van Kirk is here as well. So who are we? Well, we're family physicians. I'm Shelby Smith. I've been practicing family medicine here in Springfield for 11 years, 8 of it with Mark and Teresa, Mark Chambers, Dr. Teresa Troy, sitting right over here. They've been practicing family medicine for 20 years in town. When they got done with residency at Cox, they started Cox Family Medicine Associates. Teresa, of note, she had a prior life as a CPA before she went into medicine, so that helps out. She knows her way around a spreadsheet. And our Sandy and our janitors, Quinn and Owen Smith, my sons. Quinn was very upset when he saw that he wasn't included on this slide. So I'm still looking into the child labor laws for how we can pay them. So anyway, Mark, Teresa, and I, we quit corporate medicine over the summer because we think that there's a more rational way to deliver healthcare and for patients to receive healthcare in the community. So what we offer, well, we're family physicians. I just saw Larry Halverson here sitting on the front row, one of our stalwarts of family medicine here in the community and nationally. We're family physicians. We deliver primary care. My dad, a few months ago, not so subtly said, people don't know what you guys do. And I said, okay, well, there's a slide. Prevailing thought, we just maybe see colds and refer to specialists. Well, not so. We really think that 80 to 90% of most people's healthcare needs can be taken care of by a good primary care physician, family physician. So we offer comprehensive primary care healthcare that is accessible, affordable, and transparently priced. So how do we do that? Well, this is really the crux of the presentation. We cut out insurance. Flat monthly fee, similar to Netflix, a gym membership, and you can see our prices here. Most people, adults, $60 per month. When we get to Medicare age, $75 per month. A colleague in Boise, Idaho is doing $1 a year for people over the age of 100, which I think is awesome. And so getting back to the insurance issue, Dr. Jeffrey Sanger, a physician and economist, says the third-party payment system is the principal driver of healthcare price inflation. And that's a whole other hour talk to get into that. But so if you if you get rid of insurance as a direct primary care clinic, we can lower our administrative costs by at least a third or more and pass those savings on to patients. Pretty cool stuff. So what do you get for that? Very common question. Well, office visits without copays. So we started on the 23rd, right before Christmas. We were waiting on construction to get done. And so it's disorienting to us and patients as they walk in. They say, when did I pay my copay? Or my insurance card? We're like, it doesn't exist here. And so that's a barrier that comes down to access healthcare. You'll be part of a smaller patient panel. At Cox, we were each seeing about 2,500 patients per doctor. This panel will, when we get to capacity, will be about 600 patients per doctor. And then, right into that, longer visits. If you've got a smaller panel, you're going to get to spend more time with people, which we like and patients like. So that way we can really get to what's going on. Also, same day, next day scheduling, easy access to us with technology, phone, email, text, and the electronic medical record that we're using now is working on HD video for telemedicine. Annual physical baseline screening labs will be included. Then a number of things here that are typically add-ons in a traditional doctor's office. Also, wholesale prices on lab tests. Most of our tests, typical primary care labs, are less than $10. If any of you have ever gotten a lab bill, you may have just had a panic attack whenever I said that. And a lot of them less than $5. Wholesale prices on generic medications. We're already saving a lot of our patients a lot of money on medications and lower cash pricing on radiology studies. So who benefits? Well, I'm biased, and I would say everyone. But again, no secret, a lot of high deductible health plans out there now. So at the last few years at Cox, we were seeing people with deductibles average $2,000 to $6,000. And what were they saying when they came in? Well, they were sicker. And they said, I didn't want to come in because my deductible's so high. And by the way, Smith, the last time I was in here, it was $150 for a strep visit. Well, I didn't set that price. But they had to pay that because their deductible was so high. Next, lower premium, lower deductible health plans or good insurance, looking for more accessible primary care, maybe a better experience or more something they're looking for there. And also people without insurance and needing health care. Yes, we certainly, and it's all over our website, we hope that people have at least some baseline level of catastrophic care. But the reality is Missouri didn't expand Medicaid. And best estimates are there are about 20,000 people in Greene County who are in the Medicaid coverage gap, meaning that they make too much to qualify for Medicaid, but they don't make enough to afford insurance. And again, small businesses, a whole other discussion in and of itself. Nationally, a lot of businesses with high deductible health plans, and they're contracting directly with DPC clinics so that their employees can have unfettered, ready access to primary care. They can get off work easily to head over there, so that way we decrease this downstream utilization, which increases healthcare costs. So again, Luke was here a few weeks ago talking about DPC. We're back doing this. Why? Because we believe in it. We think that it's good for individuals. We think that it's good for communities, and we think that it's good for the healthcare system. There's limited data out now, but the Q Alliance clinics in Seattle, we're starting to get more numbers because this is a new development. But got a lot of business people in here. The lower number, 20% lower healthcare costs. And also, why are we back talking about this? Well, we want to spread the word. We want this to be normalized in the community. Because we think it's a good thing, and the patients who are involved so far think it's a great thing. We want people to know about the paradigm shift, and we want to educate. This is a paradigm shift, so a lot of it is our job to educate. So along with that, we get to talk about quotes like this. Dr. Robert Fields, a DPC physician, money is not purified by first passing through an insurance company. And we at Equality Health would say, or a large healthcare system either. The next quote that I'm going to end with is from Malcolm Gladwell. Nonfiction writer, has written The Tipping Point, Blink, Outliers. pretty smart guy. He's written for the New Yorker for about 20 years and has also written a lot about the healthcare system. Over the summer, he gave an interview to Dr. Eric Topol, who's a senior editor at Medscape. And Topol said, well, what do you think about the healthcare system? Where's it going? Malcolm Gladwell said, well, at the present time, I'm most encouraged by the notion that there ought to be, at the bottom end of healthcare, the simplest, most routine end, a cash economy. Rather than expanding insurance, we ought to be restricting it. Let's use insurance for the things that insurance is best for, and insurance is best for catastrophic events, unexpected, big-ticket items. For the stuff that is predictable and manageable, let's use the market to handle that, because that's what the market is good at. Thank you, Malcolm. So where are we? Well, we're downtown. We opened on the 23rd, and we're in this building. Actually, not that building. We're right there. So if you can get there, then you can get there. If you can get there, then you can get there. And if you took this picture, which I didn't, then you were right above our clinic. So thanks a lot.
Dr. Smith, excellent presentation. Thank you for sharing today. If you're brand new to 1 Million Cups, following the presentation, we have question and answer. If you have a question you would like to ask, raise your hand up. We'll get to you as we have time, and we have questions for the next few minutes.
So you're making this paradigm shift toward wellness, maintaining wellness, rather than you know. Well, I agree with that. That's excellent.
Thank you for that question. I like that.
Hello. I just signed up for health insurance for my company and a couple of my employees. Tell me why should I go to this one in two respects. One is the risk. Like my plans are high deductible HSA plans. So I pay low insurance, and if something happens big, then I still pay lower part, and then everything else is covered. So that is the risk, and the cost is low. So, so what's your argument about what if I want to switch to?
Do you mind if I ask what your deductible is on your employees?
I think per employee it's about $4,500.
Okay, so $4,000 to $5,000.
Yep.
And so for an adult, we're offering a comprehensive primary care for right at $720 per year. And so, and again, everybody is different in their interaction with the healthcare system. The current healthcare system, that $720 could get easily eaten up by 1 or 2 visits with labs. That's it. There's your $720 right there. And so, whereas that deductible, everything for those people as they go to urgent care or they're getting labs done, that's going to come out of that deductible, so they're going to be up to $4,000 to $5,000. The money, you are going to be paying that money, or the employee is going to be paying money somewhere. So where are you going to get, the question is, where is the better value? Is the better value in something like what the direct primary care is doing, where we offer so much for less? Sorry, go ahead.
I understand that. What about risk? I took this plan to cover the risk in case I'm in an accident.
Okay.
Now, you go to hospital per day, probably that deductible will just go away in 1 day of the hospital. So how do we cover the risk?
Again, apples and oranges. We are primary care, and all through our website, and again, like the Malcolm Gladwell quote, we need to have insurance for what insurance is for. This goes back to the car insurance analogy. We all have car insurance. What do we use the car insurance for? A car wreck. Because if we used it for everything else, our car insurance would go through the roof. And so we use cash for things such as oil changes, new tires, and car washes. And so what we're doing is, I'm not saying that I am going to cover all catastrophic or hospital. I'm saying that if we invest in primary care, and again, that's a whole other talk about how we need to turn things around in this country and invest more in primary care, then if we're investing in good value with what I think in primary care, then our downstream utilization is going to be lower for you as the employer in the healthcare system in general. Absolutely, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So hello? Oh, there we are. So I'm going to do an advertisement for you.
Okay.
I'm type 2
How much is this going to cost?
No,
Because Teresa
No,
is
it-
really going to
I'm type 2. I'm type 2 diabetic, and diagnosed in 2012, and I was basically uninsurable except for under the state insurance program. I re-enrolled this year for Obamacare, $900 a month. Okay, that's with a low deductible. But if you go and take a look at the other plans that were offered in Obamacare, you were paying anywhere from $4,000 to $6,000 deductibles. You're paying $500 a month, but you got to hit that. It's $900 a month, no matter whether you have that high or low deductible. What this does is say for $900, go ahead and opt for the low deductible, and then you have the catastrophic coverage for $450, $500 a month. And that's a net savings to me, when I do the math automatically in my head, of about anywhere from $300 to $400 a month. That's what he is advertising right here by taking your primary care. So anyways, it's a good pitch, and it makes a lot of sense. The only downside is if you get sick elsewhere outside of the Springfield area. So I'll pass on.
We'll see if we can get in touch with one of our colleagues.
Thanks for an entertaining presentation. Thank you for educating us on this. What happens if you need to go to the hospital? Don't you, it's my understanding that a doctor has to be affiliated with a hospital before you can be admitted and that sort of thing. So how does that work with this system?
You know, it's actually really no different than what it was when we were at Cox Family Medicine, and what 95% of primary care physicians in the area. The healthcare system, again, for a whole bunch of different reasons, has gone to a hospitalist system. So whenever my patients, Mark, Teresa, and I's patients were admitted, and we were at Cox, they went to a hospitalist. We did not go see, I would try to go over and see them when I could, but that was a hospitalist or hospitalist team that was calling the shots, doing the orders, that type of thing. And so again, a number of different scenarios. If that person comes to see me and they already have an insurance plan that dictates where they go, because Missouri doesn't have an any willing provider law, if they have that insurance that dictates which hospital they go to, then that's where they will go. Now, in this model, again, with the smaller patient panel, I would certainly hope that there'd be a lot more coordination between primary care and the hospitalists in this. Again, not that we're going to be, say, the quarterback, I guess, or writing orders in the charts, but there's also a push in the American Academy of Family Physicians to have primary care physicians at least getting in the hospital. There's now trying to get a code, so again, we get back to coding and billing, which we're not doing, to get into the hospital so they can just coordinate care with the hospitalist. So short answer, really no different than what it would have been when we were in the other system. Hospital care is mostly taken care of by hospitalists at this point. Next question.
I think that's me. Is this on? Hello. LaDonna stole my question, but I came up with another one while you were answering her. First, I have a statement. If you have insurance, high deductible insurance on your employees, they're not going to the doctor. They're going to be sicker. They're going to miss more work. If they have a plan like this, then they are going to be more likely to subscribe to a wellness plan, and then that benefits you as an employer because your employees are healthier. That's a benefit I see as an employer. But my question to you is, if somebody has like a flexible spending plan, I know that's not insurance, that's completely different. Are they still able to use that sort of payment system, that pre-tax dollars, at your facility?
This question gives me chest pain.
I'm sorry, I'll ask Teresa.
No, health savings, flex accounts. This is one of those areas. There's actually, by the letter of the law, no. But if it want to get confusing, Missouri is one of 13 states that passed House Bill 769 last summer, which says you can, depending on federal law. Well, federal law, written in the tax code, says no. But guess what? There's Bill Cassidy, Republican senator in Louisiana, in August, put forth Senate Bill 1989, which tries to undo that. He got a Democratic co-sponsor a few months ago, and so they're trying to say it's very aggressive federal legislation to try to get that changed. And so if somebody comes in, if you look on our website, I spent like 30 minutes writing this paragraph because I don't want to tell somebody, oh yeah, you can, don't worry about it. Because it's actually tied up in one of those IRS statutes that existed really before direct primary care came along. And so they're sort of looping back and trying to fix that. So that's why that question
So
gives me
you should ask your
you should ask your tax
provider.
advisor
Yeah.
what they would
Okay,
do.
thank you.
Yeah.
Is it my turn? Okay. 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 Great presentation, by the way. I couldn't agree more with what you're doing. I love the elements of transparency that you talked about, and I'd like to hear more about that. But my question for you right now is, how fast will you get to that 600 patients, and what is the opportunity for growth, and what is the limiting component in that? Is it space? Is it time? Can you hire mid-levels to, increase that number?
I don't know when we'll get to that capacity. Hopefully soon. No, whenever people will say, when you ask about direct primary care growth, anywhere from 18 to 24 months, which just in a typical practice is probably about that. Certainly, if you have some businesses on board, that's going to ramp up. We've had a number of our patients from Cox who have followed us over. So I don't know. I think we sort of look out 18 to 24 months. How does this look? And we know that we're providing what we feel is quality care. Word will get around. Capacity for growth. We did an infill on the College Station parking garage. So we got to design this thing, and there's 3 of us, and there's 4 exam rooms. So we could bring on another doctor overnight. And we also have space that we could get into depending on how things go. And the thing is that there is no shortage of good primary care physicians who would like to be part of this model. So,
I got a question on the quality of health care. I'm retired military, and it appears to me that socialized medicine has been forwarded through the government and military and Veterans Association. Used to be that military had their own hospitals until not too many years ago. They consolidated the VA with the military, and they've knocked out a lot of the military hospitals and brought in the VA. So that's a type of socialized medicine, and I'm wondering if that's going to catch on. It seems to be working, because a lot of these veterans, like World War II, they didn't come under this system. Now then, like when they opened up Agent Orange, everybody had cancer, and a lot of people have been in like the military 2 years. They qualify for 100%, they get $3,000 a month, no tax out of it, and it seems to be working good. It all started in Great Lakes, Illinois. They knocked out the Navy hospital, they tore it down. I was from Great Lakes, and they tore that hospital down, and they opened up the VA, but they don't call it a VA. They don't call it a military hospital. They call it Federal Health Care Center. And go there now, it's military active, military retired, and veterans, and some civilians. It's a type of socialized medicine. That seems to be working good. Fit in with equality health care.
all right. Well, there's a lot to unpack there. I'll tell you where it fits in. Okay, quickly. Medicare is socialized medicine. Okay, Medicare and VA is socialized medicine, and which is great. Thank God for it. Really, I thank God for Medicare. And so whenever we were at Cox for 6 weeks from the time we resigned until we left, so we were explaining to our Medicare patients, and they were like, "Well, I'm not going to follow you." Why? Well, a lot of them did, and so where it fits in is if people have health care that is for the most part taken care of, and they're not paying much out of pocket for, then they may not follow us. I had a guy come in who's at the VA. I said, I hadn't seen you in 5 years. Did I offend you? And he said, no, I don't pay anything to go to the VA. And so he's probably not going to follow me, and that's fine. So, Okay.
Dr. Smith, let me close with this. Thank you for sharing today. Very insightful. A lot of other questions that we had, just didn't have time to get to, so stick around a little bit afterwards. You'll have some new clients. But the number one question with this crowd, all of the startup community, which is incredible, how can we as a community help you?
Thanks. I think sort of what I mentioned in the presentation, just spreading the word and normalizing this in other communities around the country. This is beginning to be more of a normal thing, and so that people aren't looking at us like we're so odd anymore for doing this. Just spreading the word about what we're doing. Thanks.
Thank you.
Wow, look around. This is an amazing turnout. First time back in 2016. Thank you guys for coming and supporting us. Also, I'm proud to announce that I think we're booked up with presenters for the next 5 or 6 weeks for the first time in a long time. So we attribute a lot of that to you guys going out into the community and spreading the word about what we're trying to accomplish here. Please continue to do that. We do have some laptops set up right outside of the door. So if you guys are interested in signing up or filling out an application to present, feel free to do that while you're here. You can ask us questions while you do that. Also, just a reminder, we have an announcement board. I think this is the fewest announcements I've seen in as long as I've been coming. So makes the announcements responsibility easier. But real quick, so the SBTDC, their business plan, this is really cool. If you guys have an idea or a concept for a business, you put together a business model, you guys can partner with them, $139, and they kind of put it through the test and provide you guys with a bunch of analysis and feedback on that business model. So this is a cool thing to have access to if you're looking at starting up something. The Real Estate Investors Group looks like new location, Hilton Garden Inn, so I want to be sure to call that out. Their next meeting is January 21st at 5:45 p.m. And then this is new as well, which I think this is really cool. Schweitzer Church is kind of sponsoring this business as ministry. And what this is if you're a business leader, a business owner, and you're looking for some guidance on taking kind of the religious practices from Sunday into your business practices throughout the week on Monday, this is kind of a group of other business owners in the community that are there. There are some influential people in the area that kind of lead each week. It's an 8-week session. Tonight is the kickoff of the very first one, so it's almost like the MVP, getting it out there, looking for people to join and shape what this looks like moving forward. So if you guys have announcements, just come here 10 minutes early on Wednesdays. We'll be sure to put them up there. And again, thank you guys for coming and helping shape 1 Million Cups Springfield. We have another awesome presenter here, probably not a stranger to a lot of you guys. We have Jeff Bertholdi with SpringNet Broadband.
All right, thank you. Okay, can everybody hear me okay? I've got a pretty big voice, so hopefully it won't be a problem. Pleasure to be here. Happy New Year to everybody. I just coming off the holiday season, I'm energetic, and coming here is motivating. Here probably 2 or 3 times a month. And I know that I have thrown a hardball or 2 question at the very end of Q&A, and thinking this morning, I'm like, man, there's going to be some retaliation. I'm very deserving of it, so give me your best shot at the end. You know, I'm just one face of SpringNet, and I'm really interested. I love the polls that we do here, so I'm going to ask, how many people in the room know what SpringNet is? No, that's really good. How many people know that SpringNet is just a division, and I say just, is heavily a division of city utilities, just like electric, gas, and water? That's awesome. And I guess everybody knows that city utilities is owned by the city of Springfield and you guys. So knowing that, the big message today is SpringNet really is here for Springfield and the community, for the entrepreneurs, for the businesses, for our economy. And the message is that we are not any different like Kansas City and what Google Fiber is doing up there with the fiber hoods, or St. Louis or Austin, Texas. We have that same stuff right here. And we're going to talk about that. I've got some great people in the crowd too. I want to do some shout outs. I've got DJ Schoolcraft, Andy Robinson, and Chad Marsh with me. Chad's a supervisor at our Network Operations Center. Andy and DJ are business development guys. So they're here if you have any questions at the end. So really, let's talk about gigabit fiber broadband and what that is. So what is a gigabit? It's 1 billion bits per second. And just put that in a little perspective, got these off the web. They're a couple of years old, but they're still ringing pretty true. 1 billion minutes ago, the Roman Empire held like pretty much Europe all the way through Great Britain. 1 billion hours ago, our ancestors were cavemen, you know, running around with clubs, clubbing T-Rexes, I guess. $1 billion ago is like since midnight, or probably since 5 a.m. at our government spending rate. And if you imagine a standard dump truck, that can hold about 1 billion grains of sand. So really imagine moving a dump truck from where we're at right now down to Nixon in about a second. Okay, that's what we're really talking about, stepping things into a whole new mode of access via data flow. I've got a little bit of a cold, so excuse me for my choking. So in saying that, Springfield is a gigabit city. This is not anything new. We've been providing gigabit speeds to businesses here since 2001. That infrastructure started in the late 90s to help support the electric distribution system in town, and it grew much beyond that in the years to follow up until recent times. We also offer 10 gigabit and 100 gigabit services within the metropolitan area. The 100 is very, very new to us, but that's awesome. I kind of challenge you to find too many other places in the state of Missouri that have that capability, and we do, which is amazing. And most people would not have an idea that Springfield has that technology level. And that's kind of the good thing, is the entrepreneurial movement right now, here in this room, in this building, in the downtown area, is growing leaps and bounds. Really, almost every quarter you hear about some new fun stuff. Our gigabit internet access has been here since 2007. So when you talk about your ability to connect to the world at light speed, it's 7 years old now, almost 8 years old in Springfield. And at first, that was really based for institutions. You know, we're talking about hospitals, the universities, the school district, because at the time it was very expensive. And they were really the only big boys that could afford those kind of speeds and or needed them. But as technology has changed, we all know bandwidth is getting consumed faster and faster all the time. So we've now grown the fiber network in Springfield to over 600 route miles of fiber. That is a lot. And if you look at it on a map, it just looks like a maze of spaghetti because we're pretty much everywhere in the Springfield metro area. That's because cost of fiber installation has dropped over 80% in the last decade alone. And that's given us the ability to grow fiber at an astronomical rate in town, and the prices of services have come down commensurate to that. So why is it important to businesses? Essentially, you can move data at the speed of light. We're talking about Chewbacca hitting the warp drive on the Millennium Falcon and just gone. That's the difference. If, you know, looking around the crowd, I can see many of you remember the modems of the old days where you sitting there listening to that thing rattle off on your PC, and finally, you know, the screen started painting, and that was the most awesome thing ever. I mean, and now I look back at that and I'm just like, I don't even know how I survived. And it allows for things like these, you know, multiple high bandwidth users, large file transfers, HD media. We all stream Netflix. I mean, come on, we're watching movies. That's all happening across the wire. And it also, for businesses, reduces premises costs because you don't necessarily have to have local servers in your closet anymore. You can use all these cloud-based things like Carbonite and Salesforce and Quicken. So no longer do you have your office server that has your email on it and all these things. You just need a connection to the globe, and then bam. You can do business with people, you can buy business from people, they can buy business from you, and you can do it instantaneously. And it also allows for really cool things like low latency applications like telemedicine. So you've got a doctor in St. Louis talking to a doctor in an OR here in Springfield, you know, sharing information and doing things real time. And that happens here every day. And then finally, reliability. Fiber is light, right? So, and you can run light along long, long paths of glass with very, very few electrical connections, which means it's more reliable. You don't have a lot of equipment between you and that endpoint like you would on a typical copper type installation. So fiber is a very reliable service. So of entrepreneurial importance, when you're thinking about your startup, you're thinking about your end users and the people that you are trying to reach, it expands your potential user base. You know, it's not local anymore. It's not regional. It's not national. You can reach out to users all over the globe. You can do it through phones. You can do it through stuff. And the gigabit fiber stuff allows you to do it at greater scales, much faster. You can use media-rich applications, so you can have video involved. You can have the messaging, the notifications, all at the same time without having to stack things up. And that is basically increases your service and your value-add offerings. So you can do more at once, which is the biggest picture. And it allows, one of the biggest things behind the scenes is you don't have to schedule jobs anymore. You used to do your backup, and when that's done, you could do something else and process your database and then do something else. You had to wait for things. Now you can just kick jobs off at once and get things really wrapped up. So when we look at us being just like Kansas City or Austin, Texas, and being progressive, I think we're at that point now where Springfield's really starting to recognize these things. We have some great stuff going on down in Nixa. We've got lots of growth in the Springfield area of other providers. We have an amazing underground data center, Bluebird Networks north of town. And these things are really adding to the value of being in this community and being in the Springfield. Some of the challenges that we have, or I'd put it another way, needs that we have is really feedback and begin meshing the provider side with the end user side and figuring out where the gaps are in the future. Like, we are growing at such an astronomical rate that I think both entrepreneurs and providers like ourselves are trying to come together to figure out what are our common goals. Like, where do we all need to meet at 6 months, 6 years from now? Like, what's that look like? So help us identify key areas within Springfield to focus our capital efforts. We kicked off the small business program downtown. Not going to dive into that in a whole lot of detail, but it's some very aggressive pricing for small businesses. We've got contact information on here, and I'll get to in just a second. If you are between National and Grant and Elm and Chestnut, you can reach out to us. If your office and business is in there, we would love to talk to you and get you through the application process, see if you qualify. But other parts of town, if there are really centers of technological advancement, lots of things going on, bring that to us so we can look at and see what our options are to provide better service in those areas. Number two is just begin open discussion among yourselves. How are you using the internet? How are you using high speed? How are you using the broadband levels way above 100 meg? And begin those discussions in your networking groups and your social community groups, and figure out what Springfield really needs to do to bring this to a whole new level. And that just naturally goes along to finding ways to leverage the technology, both for your business, for your neighbors, and for the community. So send us any feedback you have to sales@springnet.net. You can also visit our website. We have a contact us page. Fill out that form. Ask us some heavy-duty questions, and we'll get back to you. And love to talk to you more. I did throw some references on here, and I'm going to show a real quick video, only 30 seconds of it, to just kind of stimulate your mind a little bit on Springfield as a whole and some of the things going on there. So as you can see, there's a lot of stuff going on, So with that,
Right, great, Jeff. Thank
throw
you
it
so
out.
much. Jeff, can you give us a little bit more insight as to real-time applications?
You know, when you talk about, I think telemedicine is probably one of the biggest and first items that you can recognize. You know, robotics is growing very fast, and there's lots of robotic surgery. I think Dr. Smith could attest to some of the things that some of the hospitals are doing here. And, you know, we see all kinds of transitioning from providers. And as he admitted, you know, when you get admitted to the hospital, your PCP doesn't necessarily come and visit you, and that's because they give you a hospitalist, but then you may have a surgeon, and you've got all these specialists dealing with. Well, as healthcare tries to reduce their costs so their margins stay, they are doing more things like telemedicine. So, you've got an OR with a camera on a patient, and you may have a doctor states away doing stuff. Many of the things happening here in this building use real-time applications, and that's your interaction with the world. And every time you pull up an app on your phone, you're doing real-time stuff. 9 times out of 10, you're actually interacting with a server real-time in Palo Alto, and you don't know it. You think it's happening on your phone, but you're really doing it on the back end.
Hello. You might have answered this, so forgive me. I know that Google Fiber in Kansas City, they have a free option for people, but this seems like it's more business geared. Is there a phase of free for residential?
Yeah, so that is one of 2 most common questions, and here's a situation. I think when you look at Google Fiber, people don't read the fine print. So that free service is not for a gigabit, it's for 10 meg, okay? So it's very, very rate limited, but it's awesome. The difference that I like to really point out is Google in and of itself is one of the largest businesses in the United States, and if not the globe. They have billions and billions of dollars that they need to burn to save on tax side of things. So their ability to take on projects like that, just nilly-willy, is because they are in a class of themselves. When you look at a community like Springfield and our needs, we have very, very good broadband options here. I'm a MediaCom user. I've had them since I've moved here. And I have 50 megabit, and it is blazing fast. There are many, many cities that don't have that option at all. AT&T does 50 meg. MediaCom, I think, does 100, 150 now. So when you look at the needs of the community, it's not really there. So when you look at the ability to do free services, it really takes money. And whose money is that going to be? Well, actually, for us to do anything like that, it'd be your money, because you are part of the community, you own city utilities, and so it's a little bit more difficult. So I don't really see too much of that on the horizon. But as I mentioned earlier, costs coming down all the time. So, it is getting very, very cheap to get your home broadband enabled through a number of providers.
Okay, I'm Deb Wilson with OSTEAM, the Ozark Systemic Coalition. And that's one of the things that we've been trying to really broadcast about the importance of technology and robotics and CNC machines and 3D printers and things like that. And we do an event called the Ozarks Mini Maker Fair. And on our website right now, we have people in over 56 countries checking out the Ozarks through this. And what concerns me is the ability to keep some of our biggest and brightest people in this region. And this is such a big deal. I don't think people totally get how important this is to a community and keeping our best people, in this area, because I drive around Springfield and you see all this creative stuff going on, but you start driving in the outsides, like past Ava, past Mountain Grove, and some of those, smaller areas. There are many people that would like to stay in their communities, but they can't afford to live in that environment and have the technology that they need to be productive. And so one of the things OSTEAM is trying to do is to promote more of that. And how does SpringNet help with outside communities? Because that is such a big difference of keeping inferential and keeping our quality high, some of our highest quality students in our region.
Yeah, it's a good question, and I have to take that, again, to a level beyond just SpringNet and really back to city utilities. I mean, Scott Miller here, he's our general manager, and you're sitting by my boss, Gary Gibson. And we are involved with our fellow neighbors, Republic, Nixa, and beyond, all the time on various community issues, be it water in the future, water supply, regional transit stuff. I mean, these things are extremely important to us. And so with all the meetings that these guys do outside of the Springfield Metro, it is with a much bigger picture in mind. So more specifically to you, and keeping talent locally, this room is proof that the momentum is starting, it's building and getting bigger. I mean, with what Sterling and Jennifer and Philip have done with 1 million cups has been awesome. The building we're in, the Missouri State's investment in entrepreneurs has been awesome. And I think it's really our responsibility, everyone here, to leave this place, talk to our neighbors, talk to the kids that our neighbors have that are getting ready to go to college and coming out of high school, and reminding them how awesome this place is. And I think that naturally we're maturing more and more and more, and it's really the community involvement. You know, that message has got to come from everybody, starting with us, and we're doing our best job, and run it all the way through our neighborhoods. So, I mean, you're right.
Hey, Jeff. Great presentation, by the way. I got kind of a two-part question. Hopefully it won't be too hard-hitting. I look at other cities like Chattanooga, Tennessee, that they've branded the whole city the gig city. And then I hear you say that we've had this infrastructure really available to the end consumer since 2007. What was it that kept us from being branded as the gig city if we really had it to the end consumer? And then also, as I recall, there was a change in your charter that made SpringNet more of a tool for economic development. And has that affected you guys being able to reach the end consumer better?
So two-part question, and I have to be really careful in answering this because I'm not the best guy. What I would say, that in trying to compare us to Chattanooga or something like that, every community has a number of issues to deal with. And Springfield, again, we're no different than anyone else. We have water supply, we have electric supply, we have natural gas supply. And when you look at any community's ability to spend capital dollars to improve itself, you have to prioritize, okay? So when you talk about what it would take for Springfield to invest fiber to go to every home and every business, we're talking hundreds of millions of dollars. So if your water supply may be at risk, or your natural gas may be at risk, or your electrical system may be at risk, you're gonna kind of probably spend that money there first. And then whatever is left over, can you make an impact? So, there are people much bigger and greater than me that made those decisions years ago to make sure that we had reliability in bigger, more impactful areas. So what you're seeing now, to fill your second question, is recognizing that not only Springfield, but the globe is becoming more technologically that's a bigger priority. Technology is a bigger priority because it's really driving economies. We're not using, unfortunately, a U.S. mail system anymore, and that's why a letter costs 50 some odd cents. So when you look at what people expect, you expect that your lights are going to be on, you're going to expect that you can keep it warm, and you're going to expect that you have good, clean water. People now are really starting to expect that they're going to have internet access pretty much all the time. So, we're definitely investing a lot more in this, and I think it will grow to be one of those things that when you get a house built, you're going to get your pipes and plumbing put in and all that stuff, and you're going to be wired for high-speed, broadband. It's just like the natural thing. So I think with that, as we've married economic development, that's the area that my associate general manager is over, with SpringNet, it's become a very, very good union. And we've been able to get on the front side of business growth in town and pulling bigger businesses in here. And that's all with us recognizing that these topics are really rising up in importance.
I have a question.
Good morning, Jeff.
Michael,
My name's Michael Hansen. I'm a perpetual college student. And this is probably a stupid question, but as most people here know, I'm not afraid to ask a stupid question.
No.
When you say 1 gigabit or 100 gigabits, are you talking speed or bandwidth? Or both?
Both. So, we've got just a couple minutes left. Great question, but the mathematicians and physicists would do better. So there's capacity and capability, right? And so we are talking about pipes and bandwidth, right? And so the capability of 100 gig over 10 gig is many-fold. The capacity is for that 100 gig to do 100 gigabit things at once, right? So in answer to your question, it's just think of it as a culvert. You've got a garden hose, that may be your 10 meg. You've got the the tube under the driveway, that's your 100 meg, and then you've got the thing you could drive the car in, that's your 100 gig. So you can get a lot more done, and so it's both bandwidth, it's speed, it's round trip times, all kinds of math goes behind all that.
How do you interconnect with companies like Show Me and Marshfield with their fiber network?
We interconnect with pretty much everybody, and that's one of the great things about SpringNet is we are agnostic. We interconnect with KMO and Empire and Verizon and Sprint, and they're our customers and we're customers of theirs. So Great Southern Bank, love them, they're an awesome customer. They've got banks all over the place. We are their provider. We use KMO to get to some of those places. We use Show Me Power Fiber to get to some of those places. So we have very good interconnect agreements with those folks.
I spent some time recently in LA, and there's an area there not too far from the airport where there's been a significant amount of growth, and it's attracted a lot of tech companies to it because they built that infrastructure there. Similarly, we have the eFactory here. Are there any places in town that are in your sights that are possibly the next opportunity to build it and they will come type scenario that we can get behind early and further your objectives there?
The answer to that is yes. There's always rumors and things, and fortunately I'm able to sit on the Idea Commons Planning Committee with Gary, and Ben Jones is in the room, with Alan Kunkel, Brian Kincaid, and the Chamber of Commerce. We're always constantly evaluating what's the next spot, and quite frankly, that little box that I discussed, National to Grant and Elm to Chestnut, that's our focus right now. Idea Commons is not new, it is growing, it's got some great things going on here, but it's not full. So we're looking to continue to support the Idea Commons growth and get that to a level where it's maxed out, and that kind of goes back to that first bullet, is getting feedback from you guys that, beyond Idea Commons, is there another place in town where the community feels like we're all headed? And we would then open our eyes to looking into that a little bit deeper. But I would say right now, it's all about downtown revitalization. HERS is open again. We're really trying to bring some great businesses coming downtown on the square. So we need to continue to support that first, I think, and then we'll take it beyond that as the community demands it, really. So awesome.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jeff. Sure appreciate your time. What a fantastic day we had today. And we wanted to announce that we are looking for 3 interns. We're looking for a social media intern, a general business intern, and also a video intern. So if you're interested or you know someone that may be interested, you could submit a resume to our Facebook page. Just message us and attach it. So anyway, thank you guys for coming, and sure appreciate your time. Have a successful and a fantastic week.
And next week.